can money buy you happiness? Now, in this video, I'm going to break down how much money you need to make as an entrepreneur in order to be happy. There's a good saying, money doesn't buy you happiness, but on the flip side, neither does poverty, right? So where's the fine line in between? Like, where do you say, all right, I'm happy? In this video, I'm going to break down just how you can do that as an entrepreneur. So first of all, you got to understand you can't hit a target you can't see, right? It's like trying to shoot arrows with a blindfold after you've just been spun around 45 times. What you need to do is first put a basic definition on happy. Like, what does happy mean to you? Now, the textbook definition of happiness is feeling or showing pleasure of contentment or having a sense of trust in a person, arrangement, or situation. Now, that's a pretty broad and very useless explanation of happiness because that doesn't give you a blueprint of how to have a happy life. When it comes to having a happy life, we're gonna break it down into bits, right? Now, obviously, you've got the life side of things and then the money side of things. So first of all, you can be as rich as you fucking want. You can be a multi-millionaire, a deci-millionaire, a billionaire. But when you don't have your fears, anxieties, and addictions and traumas in check, you're going to prohibit yourself from unlocking the person who you are or the person that makes you happy, becoming and living the life that makes you happy. So first thing we're going to do, and I've got an activity sheet here. So what we want to do is we want to list out all the things that can possibly restrict us from having a happy life. Now, the first one we're going to look at are fears and anxiety, right? What are they? What are our fears? What are our anxieties? And how would we feel after we've conquered them? How would we feel as a person after we've devoured them or after we've overcome those fears? Now, in this checklist, you're going to write down what are your fears and how you would feel personally knowing who you are in your history once you've overcome them. The second one being addictions and sinful habits. This is a little bit different because it's not something that is internal. It's something that's external on your physical kind of body, right? It's what you're addicted to and what your sinful habits are. Now, that can be interpreted differently, but essentially your sinful habits are things like gambling, drugs, addiction, pornography, even let's just say attention, right? Like for me, it's social media. That's an addiction, right? What are they and how would I feel after I've overcome them? Now, the third one being trauma. This is a bit different because it's not something that is happening to you. It's something that already has happened and it's in the past, but it still prohibits you from actually evolving and becoming the person you want to become. It's the trauma of the past that's holding you back. And what you're going to do is you're going to write down some of these experiences in this document and you're going to write down how you would properly release this trauma. Now, whether you see a therapist or not, or you journal, it's completely up to you, but writing this down will allow you to understand how you can overcome it. Stay tuned. Later on, I'm going to show you how you can find out what amount of money will actually make you happy. But before that, the next one is pleasure and fulfillment, right? What are the things that you genuinely find pleasure and happiness from? What things make you feel fulfilled once you do them? Now, the reason you want to write this down is because you want to build a life that is around fulfillment, not just pleasure, but fulfillment in general, because that's going to last much longer than just a happy feeling if you're integrating fulfillment into your routine. The next activity is a must do. I got this from a book I recently read. You want to spend time writing down all the things that you've accomplished, right? All the things that you have done that 90% of the people in the world haven't. Now, it could be winning a certain medal. It could be winning a certain sports, having a certain school-related achievement, starting a business, writing a song. Write them all down because this is where it gets interesting. And the reason we're actually going to do this is because it's going to give us a scorecard, or it's going to give us a reality check of what we have left to do with our life and give us a sense of hope and happiness towards what we want to achieve going forward as entrepreneurs. Now, once you've written those all down, take your time as well. You're going to write down underneath that a list of all the things you want to do before you die. Now, this is super important because it doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be politically correct. It just has to be what you want to do. Now, for censorship reasons, I'm not sharing my list, but essentially it doesn't care. You can put crazy goals, you can put awesome shit, you can put weird stuff on there. It doesn't matter, but write down and list all the things and achievements and things that you want to have accomplished before you die. Write them down. Now, I'll give you access to this Notion document in the link in the description below to make sure that you get it. But now, by knowing your emotional needs, you now have part of that puzzle piece solved so that you can fix the whole part of having a happy life, right? If you just focus on money and how much money you need to make, you might make it, but all of this shit at the front, at the start of the video, is more important than the money side. Now, what we want to do is we want to write down our money goals. Now, what I like to call this is our freedom goals, because essentially money is just buying the freedom to live how you want to live in general. You want to know how much it costs to live your dream life. Physically, how much it costs. I'm not talking about what the emotional sacrifices are going to be. I'm not talking about what it's going to feel like to give up and sacrifice to get that dream life. I'm talking about the cost. How much cold hard cash do you need to sustain this lifestyle? Now, in terms of longevity, this isn't the video for you. This video is simply how to. When it comes to maintaining a lifestyle, that is the most important thing, because you can live a fancy lifestyle for a night, for a week, for a month, but if you can't sustain it for a year, for a decade, it's not really a fancy lifestyle, is it? It's just a good time, a happy moment. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna write down everything you want in this dream life. What car you drive, what house you live in, what apartment you stay at, or if you want a house or an apartment. What does your daily routine look like? What gym do you go to? Is it high end? Is it luxury? Is it, very old school? Do you have a home chef? Do you have a chauffeur? What type of bed do you sleep on? How big is it? Is it really big? Is it small? Is it really luxurious? What cologne do you wear? What clothes do you put on in the morning? What clothes do you operate your day with? Do you have a wife? Do you have kids? When it comes to the material things like the cars, the house, the rent, the chauffeur, figure out where you want to live and how much these are going to cost in this area, because if you don't, you're not going to have an understanding of the revenue you're going to need to produce in order to sustain this life. What does it cost? These are some activities you can do, the freedom money activities. So what does freedom money mean to you? Now, let's just say you figured out all those costs. Down here, it will show you that you do need, to understand your annual, your quarterly, your monthly, your weekly, your daily revenues and what you're bringing in a day in order to sustain this life. But essentially, coming back up to these activities, what does it mean to you to have this type of money? Because yeah, it might be good, but everyone else wants it, so it's just good to everyone. If it's really that necessary to you, and if you know that you need to make this a reality, you're gonna have an edge over the competition. You're gonna want it more, you're gonna do more work, you're gonna put in more time, you're going to get this dream life. So what does it actually mean to you to have freedom money, to do what you want and design a life that you can only dream of? Now, what does your life look like after you've got that? Are you hitting your next big goals? Are you slowing down? Are you maintaining work-life balance? What does your life look like after you've achieved this type of status? Now, write this down in a detailed paragraph. The more detailed you get, the more you're outlining your target, the more you're finding your goals and dreams in your mind. If you want to be financially free for the rest of your life, you must be committed. Now, this video here is just an outline that you can get a better understanding of what success and what a happy life and what making enough money looks like as an entrepreneur, because you can make enough money when you're living in Delhi, India. You'll be living like a king, or when you're living in Thailand. But if you want to live somewhere else, you want to live somewhere differently, you're going to have to put in more work and plan the life of your dreams, because it's not just going to fall into your lap. So you have to be committed to the grind. It's a long-term process. It's not even a grind, it's a lifestyle, right? You're changing your life, you're changing your ways, and change is hard and it's slow, but it's also so rewarding and so beautiful. So keep this in mind when you're actually going and doing these activities and you're planning, because you might think, oh my God, that's too much. No, it's not. It's just you need to figure out what to do first, and then you can reverse engineer how much money you need to make. But not only that, the reason I've done all of these activities is not so you can just have a monetary figure, it's so that you can actually live a genuinely happy life after you've got that monetary figure. Because you can chase the money, you can chase the monetary figure, but if you don't have the other things in place, you're going to end up living a life of rich misery. If you want a better understanding of this concept, a great book to read is FU Money by Dan Lok. Now, this book goes over in extensive detail the mindset shifts and the money shifts you need to make, as well as having activities in it. Now, you might see some similarities with the activities, but the reason I've developed these activities are to build out the emotional and spiritual side of your life, as opposed to just the money side. So if you found this video helpful, make sure to get the activity list in the description below. Give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see more. Peace.